Hi everyone, it's Wednesday, November 27th, and this is this week's edition of the Scary Fan Party Report. It was a busy month for Scary Pool Party. He started out, of course, in the East Coast with the New York, Philadelphia, Boston, Baltimore shows. He went down south to Charlotte, through Georgia to Florida to back to New Orleans, and of course the trifecta in Texas, which everybody is calling the Texas trifecta. Apparently he had a lot of fun in Houston. He loved Houston. He also said he loved New York in one of his posts. So I think that he loved all the shows. The shows were amazing. I caught him in two cities, Philadelphia and New York City, and I can tell you without a doubt that it was one of the best concerts of my life, both of them. Philadelphia, especially for me, because he did the unplugged version of 10 years in Philadelphia, and it was absolutely beautiful. I think overall the concerts were just so well received. Of course, there were a few haters here and there, but that tends to happen, and we all know that he has his acoustic fans which love his acoustic music and don't want to hear anything else, and that's fine. But, you know, he did what he wanted to do, and I have to say, I was a fan. And as one fan exclaimed at one of the concerts, I dig it. You know, I totally dug what he did. I thought the concerts were amazing. I thought the lights were amazing. He went back home to California after Texas and played to crowds in San Diego as well as Los Angeles. Unfortunately, Twin Shadow had to cancel his performance due to scheduling conflicts. However, Sucre, of course, stepped in. Sucre is amazing. For me, the biggest surprise about the concerts this fall were the band and Sucre. The band was absolutely amazing. They all individually, I think, are very talented people. Not that I expected anything less. I think in order to play with Scary Pool Party, you kind of have to be talented. So for me, it was not a surprise in that way, but it was a surprise seeing exactly how talented they were together. The collaboration I thought was insane. And I thought that Sucre was amazing. I'm a huge fan of Sucre now. So you can thank the fall tour for that, because I had no idea who she was before I went to the show. But I have to tell you, she has this, for me, this kind of Evanescence vibe, and I liked Evanescence a lot. She was amazing, and I have nothing but positive things to say about any of the members of the band or the music or anything that happened during the fall shows. It was absolutely an amazing thing to participate in and be able to be there and actually be in line with the fans. I thought was also awesome. I met so many people from so many different places. One woman flew to New York City from Australia to see him. That was kind of crazy. Also, in Philly, we had people from Texas. So it was just a very diverse crowd. I think everybody went to see multiple shows. I would have loved to see more shows. I tried to go to California, but ultimately it just didn't work out. However, I know that most fans did go to see a couple shows, and it was absolutely the time of my life, and I became quite a fangirl of Joey Tortuga, who is an amazing photographer. Without his pictures, it would have been good, but having his pictures was absolutely amazing. He is an amazing photographer. There was so many moments captured and so many amazing pictures by him. I did shout out to him at the New York concert because I just wanted to, tell him that I loved his pictures, and I absolutely did. I think it made the fall tour even more enjoyable, if that's possible. He also did a lot of press this tour. He did Subway Creatures. He was in the studio talking about his process, which was nice. He did a number of interviews this fall talking more history, right? Because we don't know a lot about his past, but he did talk about the fact that he has two loving parents, and that he has worked in a factory and almost lost his hand. Most fans know that story because of Millennial Love. However, it was nice to see some of the in-depth interviews. I'm really glad glad that Hollywood Records is doing some press with him. I felt like for a long time they weren't, but I do feel like they are kind of stepping it up now that the album is released. And speaking of the album, on November 17th or 16th, it was a Tuesday, that's all I know because it was right before the radio show, he dropped the news that he was dropping the album. And it was a shock. Nobody really expected it. We knew the album was coming, but nobody expected it during the fall tour. So it was definitely a surprise to all the fans in the groups and on Instagram. So the album dropped. It dropped to rave reviews from everybody. The attention that this album is getting, in my thinking, is unparalleled. He is an absolutely talented and stunning guy. And we know this, right? We knew he was talented. And I have to say, like, listening to the album itself is a journey, and he said that many times. I love the way the album flows. From Black Cross, which is one of the most stunning songs I've ever heard. If you listen to it, you can hear the piano, the classical influences in it. It has so many elements and so many subtleties. It's beautiful. It's industrial. It's hard. And the album kind of follows this pattern from hard to soft, and from Beautiful and Brutal is one of his t-shirts, and I think that describes the album perfectly. It is very beautiful. It is written well. It is produced well. I can't even imagine a different first album from Scary Pool Party, because this kind of, to me, encompasses everything that he's about. He wants to be able to cross genres. I think that this album did that. I'm glad that he did the album that he wanted to do, because in the end, if he had released an acoustic album like everybody wanted, I don't think it kind of would have encompassed all of it as I think this album does. And this album was brilliant. He is getting shout outs from everybody, from Katy Perry to Lionel Richie, Ashley Hess. All of his Idol alums came out of the woodwork and started congratulating him for the album, and the press is just amazing. They're calling this album of the decade, album of the year. There is a lot of love around this album, and I'm so glad that he followed his intuition and stayed himself, because that has been kind of my fear from the beginning, is that the pressure to maintain status quo, and mind you, he has never disappointed me on this level, but it is a different thing when you work for a label and they want you to produce what the fans like. He stayed himself and he did what he wanted to do, and I'm really happy that he did that, because the end result is an album I think he can be proud of, and that I think he will treasure. Not to mention the fact that it does not sound like the first album from an artist. It is absolutely polished. I love every single track. Currently, my two favorite tracks are Black Cross and True Religion. However, I do love the remake of Heartstorm, one of my favorites, and I love how it progresses to an acoustic type of feel towards the end. I think that anybody could love this album and listen to it. I worked out to it today. It's amazing. So please buy the album, get it, buy it for friends. I have bought it for people, and I absolutely adore it. I hope everybody else feels the same way, because it is pure genius. It is absolutely pure genius, and I cannot wait to see what his second and third albums look like. He said that he is releasing an acoustic album in 2020, so we'll all be looking forward to that. Almost immediately following the announcement that there would be an album, he also announced that he was going to Europe on a tour. This is really exciting, because Europe, I think, will have, in some ways, a better reaction to his alternative music, so I can't wait to see what that holds for him. But also, the fact that he's going international this early in his career, I think is a really, really good sign for the future. So his social media this month went down quite a bit on Instagram. We saw a drop of 13,000. But honestly, like, at this point, I think it is the Fairweather fans that are leaving. I hope that this starts to reverse itself. However, at this point, you know, if you don't want to follow him, I say adios. Moving on. Let it go. Twitter dropped a little bit, about 200 people. Facebook was up about 1,000. YouTube was up about 3,000 this month. And the biggest gainers in YouTube were Millennial Love, and Out Loud, of course, is always up there, followed by Poison and Fading Away. Black Cross made some impressive gains this week. It is the biggest gainer on all of the platforms. I really hope that they release the song. The song itself is brilliant. However, I think that shows in the numbers as well, because it is leading the way on Spotify and on SoundCloud as well as YouTube. So out of the new songs, Black Cross is the biggest gainer besides Millennial Love, which is on some channels more or less, but it's kind of even across the channels. Spotify was up about 60,000 followers, which is great. We love to see that. It had 186,453 listeners this week, which is amazing. All of the songs did really well. Out Loud was up about 226,000, and they were followed by some of the new songs. Again, Diamonds, Cholo Love, everything was up a major amount this week, so I'm hoping that that continues. Black Cross, again on this channel, out of the new songs, was the biggest gainer. On SoundCloud, he was up about 100 followers. There were modest gains on all of the songs. He does the same on this channel a lot. So, it's not a surprise. All of the songs were pretty good. Black Cross was definitely up there as far as how much was gained. And, of course, Out Loud was up there as well. So that's it, everybody. That's this week's edition of the Scary Fan Party Report. I will be doing these about once a month now. I know that it's been a long time, but I really will do them once a month just to catch everybody up on the numbers and stuff. And the biggest news from Scary Pool Party. So it's been a great month. I hope everybody takes care. Do some good in the world, as always. And I will catch you later. Bye.